but then I'm going to really lead into our new technologies that we're building and rolling out. And it's called, it's the Bluzelle database protocol, and it's really designed around solving the world's data problems with a decentralized database. So a little background is, so like I said, we're a blockchain technology company. That's how we started. In 2014, we started by working on Ripple, doing a couple projects on there. And then in early February 2016, moved to Singapore and started doing a bit more stuff on Ripple with Maybank. And then also because we were platform agnostic, we started delivering some really big Ethereum products. Some of those were really around the enterprise space, focused on banks and insurers. So two key projects that I'll point out were, one was a KYC, or Digital Identity Management Program platform, and that was done with three banks together: HSBC, OCBC, and MUFG. So the three banks, realized that identity management, KYC, is a big pain. Each bank does it themselves. Customer has more than one account at other banks. Has more than one bank that they go to. If they can actually create the identity on a shared ledger, then and verify that in a correct way. If John Smith goes from HSBC then to OCBC, they look him up on the ledger, they can see that, hey, all the information is right there. They don't have to collect the proof of income, proof of residence, national ID. It's all been verified and proven by one of the other banks on the network. If the person moves jobs and one of the banks updates it, the entire network of banks on there get it. So it saves a lot of time, not only for the customer, but also on the back end for the banks themselves. Another big project we did was with the insurance companies like AIA and MSIG. And what we did for them was build out a smart insurance platform. What that means is we used Ethereum, Ethereum blockchain, to issue an insurance policy right onto the blockchain, just like it would be almost like a cryptocurrency. And you knew who owned that policy and who was insurer behind it. And then when a claim was done, like something happened, let's say it was a personal injury and the person had fallen down, they go to a doctor who might have been verified on the network already. And if everything checks out, the smart contract triggers, then the claim can be all delivered in real time and then paid out. So no one need to go home, photocopy everything, upload it, make multiple copies, or even mail it in and wait 10 to 12 weeks for a response, which also might just be, hey, you failed, and then you got to appeal it. So all of that was done. We solved that by using Ethereum. In doing so through 2017, we got some really good awards. One was Forrester named us a top blockchain vendor in Asia. And then we were also named by the World Economic Forum as a technology pioneer for 2017. Now, the reason I bring all this up is it gave us a really good understanding of how to use blockchain technology, how to deliver enterprise level products, knowing the security they need, the scalability, all those things. But what we also discovered in doing so was that there was a missing piece, there was a missing component in this blockchain space. And really what that was is, how is data going to be stored and managed? So this slide I'm bringing up is because it's really to look at all the forthcoming data problem that we're going to have. And really, it's all down to all these devices that we have, and the sheer amount of data that's being transacted and transferred between all these applications. And it's going at an exponential rate. If you see some of the stuff there, is that we have 4 billion connected people in the world decided by 2020. That's just a few years away. And then we also, if you look at one of the stats there, you're going to have 25 billion connected devices, or basically IoT, as they say. So that means that there's going to be about more than 6 connected devices, for every connected person on the planet. You can just extrapolate how much data that's going to be needed to be stored and managed between all these parties. So that's like from whether you're using Twitter, Instagram, enterprise level, decentralized apps. Every single thing is going to be transferring this data at high amounts. And the reality is that our current internet infrastructure is not capable of handling all that. Here are some headlines that have just come out this year alone. Uber did a major data breach cover-up. You had 143 million records stolen from Equifax with their hack, where people just coming in, and that was covered up as well. These breaches are getting so consistent, I mean, so common, and the cover-ups that now a new bill is being passed in the US where they're thinking that executives who hide this should almost face jail time. And the reality is that with cloud storage and everything, how it's set up, it's not going to get any smoother. I mean, it's not going to get any safer and any easier. And the reality of what we believe is using blockchain principles and blockchain technologies that are core principle, we can actually recreate a new decentralized database that will solve all these problems. So I'm just going to play a little video that introduces what Bluzelle is.
Well, we had the problem earlier too. I think the Zoom doesn't pick up the audio when we transmit it.
Sorry, is it not coming through?
No, the Zoom doesn't capture the audio kind of when you play video. So we had this problem.
Oh, okay. Then that's okay. Then I'll just stop it and I'll just go on with the presentation. Let me share screen again. Okay, so on this slide, I'm going to go into why we think Bluzelle can, blockchain and Bluzelle can help solve that problem. So quickly is on the far left, you'll see the past old models. And these are single system models where you had the entire technology stack or database stack sitting in-house somewhere. The problem with this is that if you touch any of those points, like the file medium, the file system, the cache, you can maybe break in and steal all the data, or the entire system can go down, or you can change things. So then we move to the centralized model, the cloud centralized model that's most common now. What we see there is it improved it a lot, but if the load balancer there goes down, the entire thing could go down. If zone one gets broken into and you steal a lot of that data, most likely with the same hacking techniques, you could probably break into zone two and steal more data. That's likely what happened with the Equifax breach. What we're saying is in the future, what we're building right now is that you're going to have an entire decentralized model where you're going to have nodes of computers all over the world, and the data is going to be broken up and scattered on all these nodes all around the world. So what that means is that it's truly decentralized. If one of those nodes goes down, the data persists and stays alive. If somehow someone broke into one of those nodes, all they got was one piece of data, which had no context. It would be like taking a Starbucks mug, breaking into thousands of pieces, scattering it around the world. And if you broke into a vault, all you got was like one piece that had one little image on it, but you couldn't make out what the entire puzzle is. The only way to do so is you have to take over the entire network and put it together. And what blockchain technology to this day has shown, especially with Bitcoin, is that that has not been able to be done because of the massive network that you got to break into. So what we're saying with Bluzelle, how we solve the problem is you're going to have the highest security, enhanced reliability because the system won't go down. And the most important probably, or one of the most important, is for small to medium enterprises, they can get better scalability at a cheaper rate than having to go into, than having the need to be an enterprise and pay enormous amounts for it. I'm going to go quickly here, and then I like to just kind of go into the demo. So building on that decentralized model, a key part of our technology is building swarms all around the world. And by swarms means that we're not going to have one universal state where the data sits. It's going to be sitting on swarms of nodes or swarms of computers. The reason we do that is because then you can address the fact that you can keep the speed, and what a user needs is be able to get access their data in a high speed area. So if you do it by a swarming technique, you can access it and get it quickly. If you did a universal state, like how Bitcoin right now is, it takes too long for confirmations, so that model doesn't work. We also, like I said, by 2D partitioning, goes back into the thing of I said of just chopping everything into little bites and pieces and scatting them around. And then whenever data is put onto the network and sent to the node, the entire swarm comes to consensus agreeing that the data is correct, it's true. So even if you pick the data from any of those nodes, it's all correct. Now what this video is showing is our swarms. So there you got 10 nodes sitting on one swarm, storing some data. The pie areas, some of this data on further. So we have a data set there that we've created from a database. You got the entries, the timestamp, everything kind of talking about it. And what we want to do here is, as I said, you've got these nodes. The pies, you can see them filling up and showing that, hey, there's certain capacity left. The red ones mean that a node has died. The blue one means a new one has come up. The key thing to realize here, once we go, oh, yeah, we're going to bump up our number of nodes to 25. So let's just see. So on our network, we just dropped 25 new nodes to come on. Like I said, blue means new ones came on. Green means they're steady state. Red means they died off. But the data persists. The network hasn't gone down even if something dies off. And you can see the storage capacity at each one of those nodes being filled as they go. I'd like to do this demo, this kind of thought experiment just as a use case, applying the Bluzelle protocol to something really simple. Here we're going to take the model of, hopefully we've got some gamers watching this, of a PlayStation. Now a PlayStation device, a PlayStation 4, is an enormously powerful machine. It has about 1 terabyte of storage, which is way more than the average person's ever going to use. You also have a game that's cost $60 US by Electronic Arts. And then you have Electronic Arts, the maker of the game, who also, they have to store a bunch of data because as these games are being played in a network model, a lot of data is being exchanged. They're running leagues. They're, two players are playing each other all the time. You've got to record where that sits. You've got roster updates that you're pushing out all the time. So this increases the amount of operational costs that these leagues do. What we believe is with Bluzelle, we can solve that as well. So imagine taking all those network machines of PlayStations, putting the Bluzelle protocol onto them. Now what you've done is created a new decentralized, you've turned all those PlayStations into a decentralized network database. EA comes along and with their Bluzelle coin enters the network and they take those red dots being data and they store it across all those network PlayStations. At the far right, you have the gamer who, you know, offered up his PlayStation as a storage unit and he earned a Bluzelle coin. And basically what he does is he's able to subsidize his game cost. So you got a real crypto economic ecosystem there of consumers, producers, exchanging a coin, which benefits everybody. This goes more into the technical side of how Bluzelle connects to Ethereum. I just won't go too much into it. Really is, you know, you've got your Ethereum wallet. You acquire the address of the Bluzelle library smart contract. You fund your account with our tokens. You set up, you instantiate an interface between the two. And through simple APIs, you start making database calls, basically doing create, read, update, delete using our system. As another example there's a currency exchange protocol in the crypto world called ZeroX. And here is a way that they would leverage our model. So ZeroX's own customers are called relayers. They're the ones who make the market orders between all the different cryptocurrencies. The key thing is they need to keep their books in order as well, in their market order books. So here what we're doing is through step one, the relayer connects through the API abstraction layer with Bluzelle, the Bluzelle network. This could be regardless of what language they use, C++, C#, Python. once our network gets that request, it finds which swarm all that data resides on and which is the best node to give that information back. Do that lookup, all the encryption keys are passed between each thing, and essentially we send that response right back to that relayer who decrypts the request and has it on hand. A little bit about our team is, myself and my CTO, we've been in technology for a long time. I was primarily in digital media beforehand, working in the video game space. I did work with Microsoft, Disney, Electronic Arts. My CTO has been designing software architecture for a very long time. He's done projects for Google, Lufthansa. And the key one to point out is ZeroBlock, which was one of the earlier blockchain acquisitions in the space around 2014. That got bought by another company. And then it was after that him and I started Bluzelle. Our team is up to 12 now, mainly engineers, experts in machine learning, cognitive science, artificial intelligence. And we're going from there. Here we want to point out is some of our, really let's just focus on the advisors here. Really tech savvy people. You've got Brian Fox, who is the creator of the Bash script, which is a major open source technology that was brought out, and it really sits on Linux. And pretty much if you're running a MacBook right now or anything on Mac, it's using his script. So he's a big open source advocate and helping us design those. Prashant Malik, he is an ex-Facebook engineer, very well known for creating Cassandra, which was a distributed database, open sourced, sent out, and very popularly used. Now he's joining us because we're taking the distributed model but taking it to a more decentralized and using blockchain technology. So a lot of is the vision that he had when he initially built. He's come on to advise us. And then you also have Alex Leverington, who was one of the core builders of Ethereum, who was there from the beginning. And he has a whole idea of where the ecosystem is going over the next 5 years and how we can navigate through those channels. So to finish off, the question is, why is Bluzelle important? One is, like I said, the blockchains themselves are bad areas to store data. Ethereum, Bitcoin, they just get choked up if you have large amounts of data on it. And the world itself is having a data storage problem at an exponential rate. If you're interested in blockchain, what we believe is you should be interested in the entire infrastructure. It's not just the applications that are going to be used at the endpoint. You should understand that, hey, the infrastructure still needs to be built. We can't put electric cars on here if the roads aren't ready. And that's where Bluzelle steps in. Third is everyone is a customer. We're starting with decentralized applications, also known as blockchain applications, as early adopters. From there, we'll move into small to medium-sized web and mobile applications, what everybody is building all the time. And then once we conquer that, then we believe the enterprises will be ready, because enterprises are the slowest to adopt. But once you prove that there's traction and people using the product and it's secure, the enterprise quickly come in. You can learn more about Bluzelle by joining our email list at our website and also joining our active Telegram group. It's about up to 5,000 members now, and growing pretty rapidly every day. I guess now we'll take some questions.
Let me start off with one on Pavel. So, from a technology perspective, you're not running on Ethereum, so you're basically your own technology, your own protocol, and your own swarm for that matter, right?
That's correct. So we are, by not build, people ask us that all the time, is like, oh, where are you, what are you guys building on? Is it Ethereum? Is it Hyperledger? We say, no, we're building a whole new protocol from scratch, from ground up. And that allows us to basically, ours is, we don't know, it doesn't matter to us who wins this game. And there'll be multiple blockchains. What we want to know is if anybody's building an app on any type of blockchain protocol, Bluzelle should be the de facto database.
And so the connectivity that you described to Ethereum, that's basically like an ERC20 token at the end of the day, or?
Yeah, so for liquidity and more mainstream popularity, we're using an ERC20 token. That's where people would get it. But as soon as then they enter our network, the ERC20 token turns into a Bluzelle native token. And the reason we do that is because if we used an ERC20 token to commit the data and query it and have consensus, it would just take too long, and the gas price would be too high. by having it convert once you start using our enter our network, we basically there's no latency and there's no consensus time for everyone to reach.
Is there a name or shortcut for the Bluzelle token, or is it simply a Bluzelle token?
Oh, I think for right now we're just calling it the Bluzelle native token, BNT.
Okay.
But it's really it's an internal one.
And so it's basically then the payment on the platform ecosystem that you build, essentially what I'm paying to have data storage on the Bluzelle protocol.
That's right.
Okay. And you're in the middle of your ICO?
No, we're just in the beginning stages. We've just announced token details last week. We're not going to do it till probably end of January. And right now, just building up support for the community.
What are your fundraising targets, if you may ask?
We are going for 19.5 million.
Okay. And so what does the product roadmap look like for 2018?
Yeah, so how we're designed is we want something to come out every 4 months. So this month in December, we'll release a product on the testnet showing how, with limited features, what Bluzelle can do. And a more advanced form will come out in April. And I think the more robust beta, where more people will be able to use it, will be in July. And we're following a 4-month release schedule.
All right. And so who's going to run the testnet to start with? Is you run it yourself?
So we've got a couple. Well, one is ourselves, and then we also have a relationship with British Telecom, and they're providing a number of servers and nodes for us. And
so they would ultimately, they kind of would be in an AWS for you, who are then getting paid through the Bluzelle native token?
That's right.
Okay, interesting. How to come that British Telecom is kind of the first adopter there?
When we moved to Singapore, we started working with them on some projects almost 2 years ago, and really teaching them about the blockchain and how British Telecom infrastructure could use it. Now our technology advanced to a certain point that, hey, it could, there's a lot of synergies there. And because they had given us these technologies, some of their hardware before, we said, hey, we're going to move our decentralized database stack to there. What do you think? And they loved it.
So what has the developer feedback been so far? It seems like the community really trying to build and get engaged in this, actually use the technology and help improve it, I assume.
Yeah, it's that's the most exciting part. We for the past 4 months, we've been doing talks all around the world, engaging the developer community, getting feedback, getting their questions, how it would work. I think now it's a point that they just want to start using the product. There's a number of blockchain-based companies. You saw one with ZeroX. There's other ones that we're in talks with right now who are saying, hey, we need to use a decentralized database. When will the product be ready so we can start migrating our work over to there?
Are there any language requirements on the client side, or does it work with anything of like a Python, Java, C++?
Yeah, the goal is that it should be, no matter what you're using, you should just be able to log in and start working right away.
Pretty cool. Well, got a quiet group here. I'm running out of questions. Okay. Anybody else has any questions? There we go. Scalability question. Do you see it?
Yes, I do, from Hugo. I couldn't really give an exact answer there right now. It would be, that's more on my CTO level. What we could do is I can take these questions down after and then send an answer like that back out to Norbert. And you can also join our Slack channel, bluzelle.com/Slack. That's really mainly for the developers to come in and ask questions and engage.
I mean, it's maybe more general, right? I mean, spreading out the data and the benefits of kind of obscuring the context of the data seems very clear. The flip side of that might be the question of, right, how does it scale? So if I query the data, I need to basically pull all this data back together and then assemble it. How do we expect that to function?
And that's where the swarming model comes in. Mm. That you're going to basically have, if Bluzelle is a universe, you're going to have a number of galaxies out there, all storing that data and working together. And this swarming technique is something even Ethereum themselves are going to be rolling out towards the end of next year, because it just make everything much more faster.
Good, fabulous. Okay. I think that was great presentation. So you said you're still releasing this month, right? For the so everybody can really get their hands on the product. And
yeah, they'll be able to do some stuff with it for sure.
Super. Any plans to come back to Tokyo early in 2018?
Yes, we do. Like one of our VCs is prominent in Tokyo, so we plan to do another roadshow there, where this time we'll have more of the product on hand and invite more people in the community out to see it.
Super. All right. Hope to welcome you then. And thanks very much for the presentation and the explanation. This was our last session for the day, so we're concluding with that. I wish everybody happy holidays and a great new year, and see you all fresh again in 2018.
Thanks everybody. Bye.
Bye-bye.